Tonight, what I want to be talking about is the economics of survival and how we have held on as a queer-owned brand for the last 12 years and how we're hanging on in 2025 with these fucking tariffs. They are an absolute nightmare. Because of the tariffs, we've had to cancel most of our collections for 2025, unfortunately. And I want to talk to you about what it's like competing with some of the bigger brands. I'm going to show you guys some of the collections that we had to cancel this year. Tariffs are the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about, because that, I think, is the biggest issue that we're having right now. And I think when most people think of tariffs, they either think it's like a political thing or it sounds boring. Something I think that a lot of people don't understand how tariffs work. And so I want to break it down for you all in real terms and show you exactly what tariffs mean for a small business like YOCISCO and what they mean for you as the customer. If it costs us $10 to produce a pair of underwear, okay? We were paying about a 3% tariff before the trade war started. So that's 30 cents. 30 cents on a $10 pair of underwear, no big deal, right? Then we mark it up so that we can make a profit, and then we sell it to you guys. The problem is when Trump put 145% tariffs, so we went from 3% to 145%. So that means we went from a 30-cent tax to $14.50. Okay, that's 145% of $10. So that essentially means that a pair of underwear that cost us $10.30 to produce is now costing us $24.50 to produce, which means we would have to mark up that pair of underwear. It would basically cost you $49 for a pair of underwear. How many of you guys are gonna pay $49 fucking dollars for a pair of underwear? I just didn't want to do that to you guys. I didn't want to jack up our prices so high that you couldn't afford it and price us out of the market and piss you guys off. Like, how unhappy would everybody be if our underwear all of a sudden costs almost $50 for a pair of underwear? That's just ridiculous. We would just literally price ourselves out of existence. So what is the alternative? What do? We either have to pass the price on to you, or we have to eat it. We have to eat that cost. And for a small business, if we're not making a profit, we can't be around very long. Like, we can't survive. Like, businesses have to make a profit in order to grow. 2025 was going to be a huge year for YOCISCO. I was so excited. I had been working for an entire year to design 6 new collections that we were going to launch. I wanted to show you guys what we actually ended up canceling. So this was called the Neo Rave collection. It was going to come in a boxer brief and a trunk. You can see this is the trunk. And then we also were going to produce it in orange and yellow. The reason why I have these in hand is because before we produce something, we sample it out. So our factory will create all the samples based on what I tell them to create. And then once we like them, then we go to production. And so this is just an example of a really cool collection that got all the way through the sampling process. We even had orders from stores that were going to pick these up. And unfortunately, we had to just pull the plug on those collections. As the designer, I usually put about a year's worth of work into every collection. For all the creativity and all the work and all the money that goes into producing a new collection, to just have to cancel it because of a fucking tariff. A lot of people have hit me up and they're like, Cisco, when are you coming out with something new? We're trying, we're fucking trying, but it just becomes, and I'm sorry I get so passionate about this, you guys, but you know, every time it seems like YOCISCO is about to really make like a big break, something gets in our way. I know when we first launched our bags, it was right when COVID hit and nobody was traveling. So we lost a lot of momentum with the bags, unfortunately. And now this fucking tariff thing, it's bullshit. And I think you're gonna really start to see prices continue to go higher and higher as this trade war continues. It is not a good thing. It is not a good thing for anybody, for small businesses, for the American consumer. Some of the bigger brands like, I don't know, Calvin Klein. Let's use Calvin Klein as an example. They can eat the tariffs a little bit easier because they order more units. They order more pairs of underwear. So for YOCISCO, we may produce 5,000 units. Calvin Klein is producing 100,000 because they're a much bigger company, right? They have a bigger distribution. When you produce more, it's kind of like when you go to Costco. When you buy in bulk, you get a better price, right? So if you're manufacturing 100,000 pairs of underwear, you're gonna get a better price than somebody like us who's only manufacturing 5,000 pairs of underwear. It's just kind of like the economics. It's a bulk discount. So when anything from the fabric to the waistband to the packaging, everything is cheaper the more that you produce. And so competing on price is impossible. And that's why small businesses like YOCISCO, we lean into more our values and the quality of our product. Because YOCISCO, as you know, is made from bamboo. It's a sustainable product. We focus on our community. We focus on representation. And I really think that's the edge that we have over a brand like Calvin Klein. Because let's face it, they do produce good underwear as well. But I would say that's our edge as a small Latino, gay, black, woman-owned brand. That's what makes us different, is I would say our quality. Because let's face it, Calvin Klein isn't producing bamboo. Not on the regular like we do. And we don't want to compromise. We don't want to compromise on our values. We don't want to compromise on the quality of our products. And we don't want to compromise on our community. We could be leaning into this whole, conservative way that all the brands seem to be going these days, but that's not who we are. That's not who YOCISCO is. That's not who I am. And during these crazy times, what I'm doing is doubling down on our values. I'm doubling down on what we're about and what we represent and the community that we cater to. And honestly, YOCISCO, we just don't have the revenue to be spending thousands of dollars. So we really rely on you guys, our customers, to continue to buy. Every time you buy a pair of underwear from us, it keeps us in the fight. And the other thing I wanted to bring up too is that's been kind of crazy this year is Andrew Christian closing down. And I know like a lot of people are like, Cisco, aren't you happy that Andrew Christian closed down? Like that's less competition for you. But in all honesty, I was not happy about Andrew Christian closing down. And let me tell you why I was not happy about it. Number one, Andrew Christian has paved the way for a lot of brands like YOCISCO to be in the underwear space. It has paved the way for queer-owned brands to go mainstream. And like Andrew Christian, love him or hate him, or love the brand or hate him, he accomplished something incredible. He basically had Andrew Christian everywhere. All over the world, right? Everybody was wearing his brand. And that meant more visibility for gay-owned businesses. And yes, Andrew Christian was a competitor, but at the same time, the way I look at the underwear space is you change your underwear once a day. There's room in the space for everybody. It doesn't have to just be one brand or another. And the more gay queer-owned brands that are out there, the better. That's a good thing. That helps everybody, you guys. And like I said, I'm not just about making a profit. I'm about our community. I'm about empowering our community, Latino community, the gay community. That's what I've been about. And so it's not always just about a profit. Yes, we have to make a profit because we have to stay in business. But it's also about visibility and representation. That matters. And when you have a massive brand like Andrew Christian go down the tubes, that's just less representation and less visibility for all of us. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I will be live next week. It was really good talking with everybody. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care. Mwah.